All right, today's day 2, and we were on day 1 yesterday of our what was it, the separation, I think, or the difference between unbelievers and believers um in the last days. And so we went through the whole worksheet yesterday. So the first 4 uploads, well, really 3, were over the whole thing. And like the dynamic between the believer and unbeliever, especially in the last days, um, when there's, a lot of deception going on. So today, and remember, we said we're going to stay in these topics for 3 days at a time because we want to not necessarily focus, but keep in mind what's really not, I won't even just say what's really going on, because it's more than one thing going on or just this situation. And more than that is going to happen. But it's more so taking 3 days to practice, study, comprehend. And remember, that's what we talked about. We're focusing on talking less and comprehending more in this season. And so sitting in study or in thought, conscious thought, for 3 days on these specific subjects will actually keep that seed planted. And then it will become, things that we do in our normal day-to-day lives. So today we're more so looking at, ooh, let me not do that before I end up electrocuting the mess out of myself. Okay, so the truth and our attitude. So that's more so what I was looking at today. My bad. And then I even had my own personal sort of situations, which they weren't really situations, but I even had my own personal stuff going on today. So I woke up and, the day started, and it was a lot of the stuff that we talked about yesterday was having to be applied as soon as I had woke up. So, that's not a bad thing. It can be nerve-wracking, and it was very nerve-wracking. It was also like certain communication barriers and stuff going on yesterday. Today. So I definitely was up against the challenge. And what I focused on was was my attitude today, instead of more so like proclaiming the good news. And that was only because today, not only being like one of the last days of Passover, it also just naturally was a day that I didn't have much going on. I ended up taking a trip to the hospital, a journey to the hospital. Nothing's wrong with me at all. I don't know why I be at the hospital like I be at the hospital. I don't be having anything else to do. But I was at the hospital, and for some odd reason, they decided to keep me in there for hours upon hours. I think I went at 2, or no, yeah, I left the house at 1:50 p.m. and I didn't get home until 6 o'clock p.m. So yeah, I was out there for a really long time. So I had to use a lot of my, more of the attitude spectrum of it all. And, oh darn, I didn't mean to do that. And when I did, at first in the beginning of the day, it was kind of tedious, and a little nerve-wracking, because it felt like it felt like it was something that already should have been perfected, you know, something that already, um, especially after coming to the discovery yesterday and the day before that. I'm like, no, today, this should be something that I can just, you know, take care of. But I was in prayer a lot today, and not like where I just get down on my knees in the corner and pray, or get down, like prayer just throughout my day, like while I'm sitting, while I'm eating, you know, just what I'm thankful for, like just throughout the day. And that was because I was working on the attitude spectrum of everything, because it was a chill day for me. Um, so I had to make sure I wasn't out here trying to prove people wrong rather than restoring them. So when I was having conversations, I was making sure to like be aware of the the toes that I could be stepping on. And I was like, am I trying to prove a point, or am I just trying to, you know, have conversation today or restore? And so because I was talking to doctors, I mean, unless the doctors actually sat there and was talking to me, then yeah. But no, the doctors, it was like in and out. I was in fast track, even though I was there for about 5 hours. Okay. Then it also talks about the hostile, and mean spirit under attitude. Well, I can't say it does. This is just what I wrote. But I made sure to not be or not dwell in the hostile, mean spirit. It could have actually happened today. Um, it almost did, but like I said, just being in active prayer. Because I don't always know what to do, and I don't always know how to grasp and catch on to my feelings. So God, like being there and being able to call on Him, and you know, in times of need, is absolutely amazing. And of course, always trying to remember WWJD. I was definitely trying to remember that throughout the day. But I also did not have remember we were talking about the bag? I also did not have my bag on me today. Ooh, excuse me. So I think that's another reason why I was feeling how I was feeling. But I know that I can't rely on, you know, the actual paperback Bible. Like I have to, and yes, that's where the word is, and it's great, but I also have to, you know, be able to be protected and connected without feeling like it's the Bible that's doing it. So yeah, we worked on not being hostile, not being mean spirited today, and then gloating over sin. Uh, gloat. Okay, I know what it means. Oh, excuse me. I know what it means to boast. You know what I need? A dictionary. Out of all the things that I have, I'm surprised I don't have a dictionary. Oh yes, I'm also trying something new. As you can see, I have glasses on today. Hopefully here in a few weeks, these glasses will be different. I'll have some new glasses, hopefully. Because I really don't wear these there's a few reasons, but my biggest reason is I just don't like how small they are. Like, I need all of this to be framed. Like, I need some big old glasses, because my eyesight is so bad that if I look down and around, you know, in the blind spots, I'm helpless. And I'm like, no, something has to give, especially because I don't think, I'm going to try to look into it, but I don't think my insurance covers contacts. So, um, okay, so gloating over sins. So that would be an act of expressing great, often malicious satisfaction, pleasure, or smugness regarding one's own success or another person's misfortune. It is generally seen as arrogant, impolite, or unpleasant behavior, frequently involving bragging or showing off a victory in an excessive manner. Wow. Crazy, crazy thing is, that is actually something that I was up against today. I can't even exactly remember what it was, what happened, because after I had my little feast, um, and then I went and took a long bath. The good Lord has done what His promises were to do. So I can't even really remember what it was that happened today, but I actually ended up getting on my Chat GPT, and I was like, am I being oversensitive, or is it? And I don't think some people actually mean. And you know what? I can't say that. I can't say that. Now that's about to make me cry. So you see how it said that sometimes it comes often from expressing like maliceness, maliciousness, satisfaction, pleasure, smugness. Um so obviously sometimes it is on purpose, and what it's looking to me like is when these things are happening, I don't want to say it's on purpose, but I don't think some of us are conscious. Like, I don't even think some of us are operating out of like the spirit of consciousness, for one, and two, like godlike consciousness. Because we are made in His image. So there's no point in us living for 1 second without being in His spirit, in His consciousness, in His like-mindedness. Um, I definitely was up against that today, and I looked it up on ChatGPT. And then after that, I forgot what else I started doing, but I ended up forgetting about it. So it wasn't me gloating over my sins today. Sometimes I do fall short and do that. I'm trying to think if I did that last night, because I hung out with a friend last night. So I'm trying to think, what were me and my friend talking about? Oh yeah, because we had a lot to talk about. I don't even remember what we talked about. Oh yeah, we talked about the same thing. We talked about talking less and comprehending more. Um, no, I didn't boast or gloat over any sins. No, not that I know of. Lord, forgive me if I'm wrong or if I can't remember. But no, and then today I didn't either. Um, I did kind of call that out today though, and it did kind of rub me the wrong way. But I prayed, and God kind of removed that in a timely manner. And then also we have lack of gentleness. I made sure to focus on. Oh, I can't say I made sure to focus on it. I actually can't. And not saying that I didn't make sure to focus on it, but I didn't. I wasn't trying to like focus on it. Like, okay, be gentle, be gentle, be gentle, be gentle. Today is gentle. Be gentle today. Be gentle today. No, like I didn't want to do that. Like I wanted to be able to wake up and feel what I'm feeling spiritually through my soul and my body. So I didn't want to like wear that face of gentleness. Um and I definitely was hovering over the gentleness, like reminding myself, hey, Kylie, sometimes your responses can make people feel less than. Hey, Kylie, your responses, because you are carrying a lack of gentleness, because you are carrying a lack of prudence and much folly. And so I've been having to remember that, and how easy it is to not be a mean, evil-hearted person. You don't live that way. You're not. That is not like who you are. But because you have certain, or we have certain, or I have certain things that I feel like might be triggers, traumas, past memories, past things that are beneath me now, they pop up, they show up in other areas. That's a part of lack. And so gentleness is one of them. You can lack because you're letting other things overbear and overpower. So, and then the last one for attitude would be ignoring boundaries. So ignoring boundaries also can go into casting pearls before swine. And that goes both ways. So if somebody is ignoring our boundaries, we don't want to cast pearls to swine. We don't want to coddle a situation where we see that somebody's ignoring our boundaries, but we think we can fix it or fix them, and then vice versa. We also don't want to ignore somebody else's boundaries and we begin to cast pearls before swine. So we also don't want to, let's say we realize that somebody either says, I'm not into the Bible. So like for instance, my now ex, he did eventually, I guess because there was a lot of pressure in our relationship, um he finally came to me and said that he is not in the Bible like he once was, and that basically when he was telling me that, that was coming from that year, which was maybe 3-4 years ago, when he was, in the Bible. So that right there would be me ignoring my own boundaries, and I would have been casting pearls before swine, because obviously we wouldn't have been equally yoked. And yeah, so that's something to focus on too, as far as attitude goes, and that I'm focusing on as well, because that is one of the biggest indicators that will help you keep your tone very low. It's one of the indicators that will also help you to catch on to little things without feeling like, oh, remember those faces I was talking about, making those like sly faces out of nowhere. When you keep this ignoring boundary checklist in your head, you will end up seeing how you might be casting a good thing before trash. You might see how you're casting pearls before swine. While somebody is ignoring your boundaries. Or if somebody makes a boundary, you can also end up seeing how you would be casting pearls before swine if they claim they're not into the Bible right now, or they're not into rock music, but you're sitting there playing rock music, every time they see you. That's ignoring a boundary, and that actually will cause friction no matter what. Because, at the end of the day, we all do have control, over ourselves, our lives. Now, in the truth aspect, so remember, it's the truth and your attitude. So that's what, if you have a good heart, those are the two main sectors that need to be focused on. And your attitude might have a lot of bullet points. But the truth should have as many as there are truths. And so far, the only one I have on, or the two that I have on mine, is kind to everyone and able to teach with patience. So that's a truth that I feel like, as long as the attitude is being, you're making sure you're not proving somebody wrong. That's not the point. You rather than restore, than prove someone wrong. You're not being hostile. You're not mean-spirited. You're not gloating over sin. You're not, you're also not, when somebody else is gloating over sin, you don't become hostile or mean-spirited, or a lack of gentleness does not come from you. Ignoring boundaries as well from the attitude. And then the truth, kind to everyone and able to teach with patience. If you knock these out of the attitude, my bad. Which you couldn't see it over there anyway. Either way, because it's backwards right now because it's the front camera. But, and I don't know if my back camera is, let me see. Oh, you can't even turn the back camera. What? Huh. I don't know if my back camera is dirty or not, but it won't even let me turn the back camera. That's weird. That's actually really weird. And then down here I just have like two little stars. Ooh, I see my makeup. Two little stars down here, and one of them says check your motive, and the other one says timing and tone. And so those are just two little ones that I started before this. And then up here, all that says is SALT, SALT. I haven't wrote an acronym. I probably won't. I put that up there though because I do know that while I was looking into this type of stuff, I kept seeing the reference of light and salt. And basically, long story short, they were saying that light is something that you're called to. People might see in you, but salt is what we're working on now. You can have light in you. People can see the light in you, but if you don't understand how to distribute your salt, you can either over or under enhance something, and it can become trash. It can become, you're now casting swine to swine, or casting swine to pearls. So yeah, it's going good though. We will be doing day 3 tomorrow, and once we conclude our day 3, we will go to our next topic and subject in our 7 series packet. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. It's bittersweet though, because like I said, I woke up this morning expecting and feeling like this should be instilled in me. Let's go. I'm ready to start this day. Let's go. To the point where I ended up going to the hospital for no reason today. Y'all, I went to the hospital because I get checked every time I have intercourse. I have not had intercourse, but the last time I did with somebody, they ended up taking their own life, and I freaked out. I always get checked after I have intercourse, but with him taking his life, I was freaking out, okay? Because I'm like, what if it was because he had something he couldn't get rid of? Like, that's all I could think about. I'm not gonna lie. He wasn't ugly, he wasn't slow, or he could have been, I don't know, he could have thought he was ugly and slow. I don't know. But he wasn't. Like, everybody, he was a hot commodity, unfortunately. But he was going through a lot of depression. And I didn't know whether or not he was also a part of the church. Unfortunately, we lost a church member, a sibling in Christ, but I was freaking out, and I had kind of been pushing it off for a little bit to go. And when I woke up today, I was like, you know what? Let me just go do that. Like, I looked at my calendar. I seen that my advisor had canceled and asked to reschedule our appointment. So I was like, well, let me just go ahead and get that out the way. And so I went, and that's where it all started. um as a matter of fact, let me just give you the first example. So when I got to the hospital, the person who brung me, he drove past the entrance, and I was like, oh yeah, you can go through the emergency, and there's a visitor parking. And he was like, okay. So he goes over there, he parks, and he's like, oh, I was just gonna park over there, but because I was like, well, you can just park over there across the street in the parking lot. And he was like, oh, I was just gonna park right there. I guess he was saying that because really he probably was just gonna like drop me off. But I have been saying that. But he said something about like, well, if you don't think it's gonna take long, then I'll just wait. And in my head though, I'm like, okay, typically when you go to the doctor or the hospital, you know when somebody's gonna wait for you. Like, they'll either say they're gonna wait, or they're just gonna come. Like, they shut the whole car off. Y'all all get to packing everything up, getting in the car, getting out the car. So when I realized that, I started walking out the car, but I kind of realized it before I got out the car, but I just didn't say anything. And this is something I've been catching myself. I've been noticed this about myself, but now I'm actually catching and approaching it. So I get quiet. I'll just get quiet, and I'll tense up when I feel like I don't know what to say, or I don't know how to say it, or I feel like I know what somebody is feeling. So I'm not going to say what should be said, because I'm not going to say it the right way, because I feel like this is petty. This is senseless. And if you truly don't want to wait for me at the hospital, you should just say that. Don't make it seem like you're about to sit here and wait and it's just, oh, good jolly jolly. Like, just be a stiff back type of individual. That's all I ask from people. And so when I got out the car, I started walking away, and I realized now I got to walk all the way up to this door. And I was like, so I turned around and I was like, dude, and I ain't gonna lie, now this is where I had to catch myself, because I was about to curse him out. And not really curse, because I don't care to cuss. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, I don't feel any empowerment from that. I don't think it's cute. And two, when I heard that curse words actually open up, like, they literally open you up to demonic strongholds, demonic possession, literally. When I heard that, I was like, oh no, I'm cool. I'm not cussing. I'm cool. Like, I might spell the cuss word or use an acronym, but I am not cussing. Out of all things that happen in life and that I do in life, I don't want to voluntarily ask the devil to come in. No way, Jose. So I turned around and I was like, I said, dang, dude. I was like, if I knew you were just gonna sit back here, you could have dropped me off up there. And now he could have, remember he said he was gonna be up there. He could have planned on doing that. But I jumped up and said, oh, if you don't want to, you don't have to park right here. You can park over there. See, so then somebody can flip that script and be like, well, that's what I was going to drop you off up there, or I was going to park up there. You could have just walked in, but you went ahead and said blah, 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 blah. This is where that whole casting pearls to swine and all of that can not even get misconstrued, but that's where that can be applied to. In all honesty, yeah, especially if my ride was going to park in the front and then come inside, or park in the front and then I get out. But he didn't say or do any one of those. I'm just giving suggestions of where to park, because he's just driving around, around, around in circles. Mind you, he said he had to be at work in a few hours, or an hour. So I was like, okay, we done took 2 long ways, 1 wrong exit. Now you circled around here 3 different times. I'm like, something ain't adding up, because we done wasted 2 whole hours now. And in my head, I'm like, I know we're not going to be done with this before you have to clock in. So at this point, it wasn't making any sense. And I did get irritable. I got 100% irritable for the rest of the day, almost for the rest of the day, because I just felt like he honestly could have just dropped me off at the front and been like, because I told him, I kept saying, my mom can come get me. I said, I will ask my mom to come get me. He probably didn't, think or know, because I didn't have a specific answer. I didn't know or think if my mom could really come get me or not. But I'm like, I'm handling business, it's health, my health. I don't see why she wouldn't. So there's no reason for you to just sit there and be acting like you're about to be helpful when really you're not. Like, you can't even be helpful. And that right there is really why I started working on this, because I know I can't fix everything. I know I can't make anybody into a better whatever or a stronger whatever, but I don't mind showing people infinite solutions to any problem. Because one thing I've learned is problems is what stops a lot of people. Problems is what stopped me. Only difference is when I ended up not trying to take care of problems and stop problems by myself. I started doing it through Jesus Christ, by not only living like him, but also calling on him, allowing him to live through me, allowing him to show me, to really guide me. And it made it to where I realized the truth and Jesus's word and WWJD, that has to be the meat and the potatoes. That has to be everything. And so it really made it to where I was like, I'm done trying to make people stiff backs and strong. No, you got to be stiff back and strong in the Lord. That's what it has to be. So I was actually glad that what happened today happened, but it was a little irritating. Like, it was very irritating. And then it also was a little irritating because I was waiting. My mom was coming to pick me up, and I kept telling the people that, but they didn't want to. I don't know what they were thinking. I don't know. But Well, she really wanted to just wait for my results. And I'm gonna just be honest, I still don't even have all of my results right now. Like right this hour, and it is like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. I don't know how long she expected me to be staying there to wait on results, and some results take 3 days. But she was definitely on that. So I had to let her know, like, hey, my mom's outside. Parents of my kind, they don't play all that. Like, it don't matter if I'm 25 or not. Like, even if I would have drove and my mom was waiting on me, like, we just, some of us just don't play that. And so it just, yeah, it was a lot of friction. It was a lot of intensity. But my anchor was God, and that was only because Christ Jesus is our Savior. He is our Redeemer. Oh, whoo, Lord, yes. Whoo, thank you, Jesus. Yes, Adonai. Whoo, thank you, brother. Thank you, Father. Yes, yes, yes. So yes, I'm excited for um our last day in this area, and like I said, everything is going to correlate. So don't be afraid that this lesson might disappear out of your think tank. It's not. I'm telling you, it's not. And the way that like God has worked through me and created me, it's not even going to be possible. It's not going to be possible dealing with me, because I like to double back. I like to go back from where we started, work back up. Like, I got nothing but puzzles and all different other types of stuff around. I don't, So we will definitely keep all of that, like stacking. Thank you, you guys, for tuning in. And I can't wait to see you tomorrow. See what the last day of our 3 days will be like. And yep, hopefully we can get a lot closer and a little bit more personal. All right, love you. Shalom, shalom.